some a little bit more interesting. So we're going to search a deer hair body caddis pattern. I chose this one because they spin like a Goddard caddis is spun deer hair, and then the body's clipped to look like the wing, and I haven't had much luck. But so I want to do deer hair pattern, but the hair is not spun traditionally. It's in a loop and then spun, and I don't know how that will turn out. But that's what we're looking for, is deer hair body caddis pattern. So let's see, we're looking for some inspiration. Yeah, something like that. This deer hair sedge. This one in the corner here, you can't really see it. Seems like everybody likes the X caddis. This is Fly Tire Magazine. Yeah, that's something. This is kind of what I was looking for. Something like this. But I wouldn't use raffia for the wing. I don't like using the raffia for the wing, so we'd substitute that for a different material. But yeah, let's start with something like that. That'll be good. Just a few of those to spice up the old caddis box. Let's go ahead and swap out the thread. I'm thinking a UTC, but it needs to be a little bit thicker. Maybe a 140 would be good. Try this one. I need to restock my thread. Look, some of these spools are looking pretty light. We'll try with the thread first, just splitting the thread. If that doesn't work, we will maybe try a mono loop. Something a little bit stronger, or a thread loop maybe. But we're gonna make the body out of deer hair, add a wing, and then a few crinkly pieces for the hackler legs. Just eyeball it, see what it looks like. See what it looks like. We can blend the hair. Maybe do a little bit of olive. And then I'm gonna, after I blend it, I'm gonna have it. So I'm gonna take the bunch and then I'm gonna cut it in half. Okay, just maximize the material, limit waste. add maybe some of this bleached. And then maybe a little bit of just a tiny bit of orange. Tiny bit of orange. Let's do a little bit this darker color. We'll use this to finish as our leggy bits. We'll stick that in there. Where's the orange here? Seeing orange. Maybe a little bit of elk hawk. This will be the point color. Skip the orange, do some of this like olivey. Alright, so this is our cup of hair. We'll mix that up. This will be our body color. Hopefully it comes out dark enough. Okay, that's a good mix. Let's split our thread. And we can add a little bit of wax. Dab it up. And let's add our hair. Taking a bunch out, and then I'm kind of teasing it. Then I'm going to rest it in our loop. And then when it's in the loop, I'm going to distribute as best I can. You might need to do a couple of these loops. Maybe it'll cover with this, but I don't think it will. So spin it up. Nice and tight. It's not spinning great. Yeah, mono would have been better. We'll see if that's enough. Alright, spin slow. Spin slow. Oh, it covered. It was enough. All right. So that's the body. I'm gonna pick it a little bit just to get some of those trapped ones out. And I don't think the hair is dense enough to warrant a razor, so we're gonna just scissor cut it So the hair here is just the body material. Like the function is not to, obviously hairs float. It will help, it's buoyant, so it'll help it float, but that's not why we used it. I think it's more texture. But if you did a Goddard caddis, you would have packed the hair in. This is more of a texture thing, which I like. I like it. And then we'll do a CDC wing rather than a the raffia wing. We'll put that on top there. Maybe two feathers. There's one, drop just a bit. That's a good length. And then we'll put on a second. Right on top. Okay, that's enough wing. And then we want to do some legs. We'll use the hair for the legs. I'm not going to trim these butts just yet because I don't know how this is going to turn out. We want just the tips, and we don't want too many. So just clean out the shorts. You don't need to be super accurate with the stack. Like having various length is not bad. But I'm going to trim these butts out. I'll put those in my body pile. We still have all this hair left from our original blend. We'll split. Put a touch, and then place in the tips there. I want to spread them so I can get 2 good wraps. I think about there. And then there's a little waxy buildup, and then we'll spin them up. Before I do that, maybe I try to knock these butts just a little bit closer if I can. Spin up those legs so they're spiky pokey. And then we'll wrap it as our hackle. That was 1 good wrap, 2 good wraps. Some are pointing forward, and I don't mind that actually. And then we'll kind of preen them back just to make it a little bit easier to manage. And then we need to unwrap our thread. And then we can trim off our butts here. a little bit chaotic, but the underside is quite nice. There's a good spread of the hackle legs. Body is a nice diameter. I like, you can, get a good color mix, which is nice. And then we whip it, and then we're done. I'm glad I didn't add the orange. I think that yellow elk hawk hair was enough point color, which is good. Let's do a couple more then. It'll be interesting to see how that hair body holds up. I think it'll hold up pretty well. Yeah, to me it looks like a decent fly. Let's do another one. We've already blended our hair, so we can split our thread. Ooh, no, that was not a great split. Let's see if we get a better split down here. Yeah, we're gonna need to let this thread unwrap for a minute. It's still a little bit tight. I'm using the UTC because it's flat. It's a flat thread. You can split it better. So I'll let that unwind, because we need a fairly large loop. Let it go. All right, that should be good. Still not a great split. Oh, a little bit better. It's kind of stopped right there, but I think it'll work. Touch it with a little wax, and then add a bunch of our hair. Into our loop. Distribute the hair around our loop as evenly as we can. I think that's a good amount. Spin it up. And a little bit more. Yeah, we got a better spin this round, but we have this excess thread we have to deal with here, which is not ideal. This is more material than we need, actually. Let let that unwind. Let's pick a little bit before we cut. You could do this technique if you like for an irresistible atom. You could do a similar technique. It's just the end result is just not as tight of a spun body, a little bit more messy, a little bit more chaotic. But in some cases, that's better. It's a good technique if you need a fuller body, bigger caddis pattern. I wouldn't do this for a smaller pattern. Just wouldn't make sense. Do a couple of feathers for the wing. That one's too big. This is a nice smallie, but if we do that, we need maybe two more. This one's nice, but it's quite curved. Not ideal. Here's a perfect one. And here's a few good ones right there. All right. Let's get that perfect one. Measure out our wing, tie it on flat. One more. Measure out the wing, tie it on flat. Okay. And then we can get our leg hair, just the tips. Clean out the shorts and the softs. Which is quite a few. We might need a little bit more than that. Pile's looking a little sparse. That's a good amount. Eyeball measure the tips. Let's split the thread. That's a good enough split. Touch it up. Trim the butts of our hair. Insert our tips into the loop. Close the loop. distribute the tips in the loop. Spin it up again. And wrap. Advance the thread. Build the head and let the thread unwind. Trim the CDC butts. Check our work here. Whip it and you're finished. Cinch down that whip. Yeah, I think that'll be a good pattern. Let's go back to the drawing board. See if we can get some more inspiration. Parawing caddis. Ooh. I don't know about that. So we have this is Fly Tire Magazine, a list of 16 caddises. This is looks like a quill or, yeah, maybe turkey quill, lacquered, some lacquered back with a parachute post. Hackle. We can try. Oh, there's one parachute caddis pattern that's really, really good. What was it called? But I think it didn't have, the thing I don't like about this is this turkey quill back. Yeah, to me that's a little bit unnecessary. But if you replaced it with hair, maybe that could look good. This is what everybody likes, is this pattern here, the X caddis. Everybody likes it. I think it makes sense for a smaller pattern. They say 18 to 10. So yeah, let's tie up a few of those, but small. Try to do them small. See what we got in 16. I'm gonna try it on this emerger hook, see what it looks like. This is experimental. A trailing shuck is, I don't know how necessary the trailing shuck is. And I'm kind of tempted to not include it. See how we feel. And then I'll use uni thread, pretty thin. We don't need to split, and it looks like we got to do a dubbing rope. So the uni will be okay. They're using a GSP, I think, for that hair, cranking down on that hair. They got a really nice tidy head on their fly, which is aesthetically quite pleasing. We will do our best to mimic. Trailing shuck, no trailing shuck, trailing. We should do one with a trailing shuck just to see what all the fuss is about. I'm just gonna use this Z-long, and then I might marker this up. I guess I should not, I should just cut out a section of Z-long and then thin it out from here. This is our Z-long section. We can use a Copic and just kind of touch it up. Oh, that was a big touch. Just touch it up a bit. If you had a green pen, that would be perfect, but we don't have a green pen. Body color, we'll do just something basic. So brown, light brown. They have a nice tight rope, so you get the segmentation. Try to mimic that. My rope's a little sparse, so we might not see the segmentation. And there's a little, it's not full, there's a little bump, but it's okay. And then hair. I could use this hair, but it's a little bit thin. This hair's a nice color, but this one's quite messy. We need to work on it. Pick it out. And then we can try to stack it a little bit here. Let's measure the wing. And tie it in. Yeah, it's not. I see why they use the GSP. This isn't flaring very well. It's secure, but I don't think we're going to be able to get that. Oh, maybe we can. I don't want it to spin. So we'll go ahead and tie it off. Oh, it's already. No, it's okay. Get our razor. And we're not going to get that nice domed cut they got. Definitely didn't get the good cut. This is the poor man's caddis. That wing traveled down a bit, so I'm just trying to clean that up. It's not a huge issue. I mean, that'll work, but I think there's better. No, it's good. It's a good pattern. All right, so we did 3 caddis today. We did a nice deer hair body, CDC wing with the deer hair hackle, a little bit bigger, kind of messier. This would be good in faster water. Then we did a kind of slim caddis. We colored up the polypropylene trailing shuck, and then we tied it on a pupa hook, which could have been part of the issue. I think that's all I have time for today. All right, until next time.